In just 9 minutes, uncover the shocking truths from Gillian Tett on The Ezra Klein Show. Is Trump crashing the economy on purpose? Is the dollar being manipulated in a secret deal? Are we heading back to the chaos of the 1930s? Stay till the end to hear the most controversial takeaways. Takeaway 1. Trump's economic strategy is about power, not just economics. Donald Trump's economic policies are not just about making trade fair or bringing jobs back to America. His administration operates on a hegemonic power mindset, which means using economic tools like tariffs, financial restrictions, and military influence to ensure America remains the dominant world power. This marks a shift away from the neoliberal policies of free trade and open markets that have shaped the global economy for decades. Instead, Trump's team believes in mercantilism, a system where nations focus on strengthening their own economy through aggressive trade policies and government intervention. For example, rather than negotiating trade agreements that benefit all countries, Trump's team uses tariffs as weapons to pressure countries into accepting deals that favor the U.S. This explains why some countries get tariff exemptions while others face steep penalties. It depends on how much leverage the U.S. wants over them. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2. The Mar-a-Lago Accord is an attempt to manipulate the dollar. Trump's team is working on a highly ambitious and risky financial strategy called the Mar-a-Lago Accord. The goal is to weaken the U.S. dollar while still maintaining its global dominance. This seems contradictory because a strong dollar helps America retain power globally, but a weaker dollar would make American manufacturing more competitive by making exports cheaper. The challenge is how to lower the dollar's value without causing a global financial panic or losing its status as the world's reserve currency. The proposed solution involves pressuring allied countries into an agreement where they weaken the dollar in exchange for certain benefits, like tariff relief, military protection, or access to U.S. markets. For example, the Trump administration might ask Japan and European nations to accept a lower-valued dollar in return for avoiding tariffs on their exports. In theory, this could boost U.S. manufacturing by making American goods cheaper abroad. However, this is extremely risky. If foreign investors see the U.S. deliberately devaluing its currency, they may start reducing their reliance on the dollar. If that happens, it could trigger a financial crisis, as the U.S. economy depends on the world's trust in the dollar as a stable currency. Now, let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3. Trump's decisions are driven by personal power and tribute. Unlike most politicians who make decisions based on long-term economic strategies, Trump operates based on relationships and personal loyalty. He rewards people and countries who flatter and support him, while punishing those who challenge him. This is why his policies seem unpredictable. They are not guided by a fixed economic plan, but rather by how much power and influence he can extract from others. For example, countries and corporations that praise Trump often get better treatment. If a foreign leader makes public statements about how great Trump is, they might get exemptions from tariffs or receive special trade deals. But if they criticize Trump, they could face economic penalties, tariffs, or restrictions on business with the U.S. This kind of tribute-based system is more common in monarchies and dictatorships, where leaders expect public displays of loyalty in exchange for favorable treatment. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4. Trump's trade war is creating unintended consequences. One of Trump's biggest economic strategies is using tariffs to pressure other nations into trade deals that favor the U.S. However, countries are not just surrendering. Many are retaliating in ways that could ultimately harm the U.S. economy. For example, Canada was expected to be heavily damaged by Trump's tariffs, but instead, his attacks revived the struggling political career of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Before the tariffs, many Canadians were frustrated with Trudeau's leadership, but once Trump began attacking Canada, public support for Trudeau skyrocketed as people united against a common enemy. This kind of nationalist backlash could happen in other countries too. If America continues to use tariffs aggressively, it may push foreign governments to form alliances against the U.S., reducing American influence in the long run. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5. The stock market is no longer Trump's priority. During his first term, Trump paid close attention to stock market performance and often adjusted policies when markets reacted negatively. This time, his administration seems willing to let markets suffer in pursuit of their economic vision. For example, in previous years, if stocks fell after a trade announcement, Trump would quickly backtrack to reassure investors. But now, his team is telling businesses to prepare for a detox period, meaning they believe some economic suffering is necessary before achieving long-term benefits. The risk is that if markets fall too much, or if a recession starts, it could hurt Trump politically, especially if voters blame his policies for job losses and economic pain. We're halfway through the video. Thank you for sticking with us this far. If you're enjoying it, please give us a thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to comment below. To see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. Trump's tariffs are confusing businesses and investors. One of the biggest complaints from businesses is that Trump's tariffs are highly unpredictable. They are announced, removed, delayed, and then reintroduced, making it difficult for companies to plan for the future. For example, a company that wants to move production to the U.S. needs stability. But if tariffs on imported goods keep changing, businesses may hesitate to make long-term investments. This hurts Trump's goal of bringing back American manufacturing jobs, because companies need clear and consistent policies to make investment decisions. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. The bond market is America's real weak spot. Trump's policies could trigger a financial crisis in the bond market, which is far more dangerous than stock market crashes. The U.S. government is borrowing at record levels, and rising interest rates are making debt more expensive. For example, the cost of paying interest on U.S. debt is now greater than the entire defense budget. If foreign investors, especially China, stop buying U.S. bonds, it could cause a financial meltdown similar to the 2008 crisis. If investors lose confidence in America's ability to manage its debt, the U.S. could face a severe economic crisis that affects global markets. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. Other countries are preparing for a post-U.S. world. Many U.S. allies are quietly reducing their dependence on America, preparing for the possibility that Trump's policies could make the U.S. an unreliable partner. For example, in Asia, many financial managers are secretly shifting investments away from U.S. bonds and looking at alternative currencies. If this trend continues, it could weaken America's global economic dominance in the long run. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. The world is shifting back to a 1930s-style economy. Historically, economies move between global cooperation and nationalist power struggles. Right now, we are seeing a shift back toward economic nationalism, similar to the period before World War II. For example, in the 1930s, countries imposed heavy tariffs and restricted trade, leading to global economic stagnation, increased political tensions, and eventually World War II. Many experts fear Trump's policies could create similar risks, as economic conflicts often escalate into political and military conflicts. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10. Trump's economic team believes in a painful detox period. Trump's advisors argue that the U.S. economy is addicted to cheap imports, excessive debt, and financial speculation, and that short-term pain is necessary to reset the system. For example, they believe that if the U.S. endures economic hardship now, it will emerge stronger, more self-sufficient, and better prepared for the future. However, many economists fear this strategy could cause long-term damage instead. If tariffs, financial instability, and government spending cuts trigger a deep recession, businesses may cut jobs, inflation could rise, and consumer spending could collapse, leading to years of economic uncertainty rather than a quick recovery. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like below and share this video in your WhatsApp groups. You can also discuss about this video by commenting below. To get more such videos in your timeline, press the subscribe button below.